Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emma Rose and I am a life coach who supports millennial women who are aspiring to work for themselves, become an entrepreneur, do work that they love, that's meaningful to them, have location and time freedom, and just all round believe in themselves so that they can live the lives that they dream of living. And I'm talking to you today about self-confidence and having that inner belief, because it's one of the most important things that we can learn if we want to live lives that deeply fulfill us. And I had a couple of experiences recently where it was highlighted to me that perhaps I was putting other people's opinion of me above where my own opinion of me was, and that is unhelpful. So the first thing I want to tell you is that sometimes we think that we need other people to believe in us before we can do something. So if you have a dream to start a business or retrain in a different profession, or do something that is deeply fulfilling for you, then you might be wondering what other people think about that. And you might be wondering whether they think that you're capable enough or good enough to be able to do it. And I'm here to tell you that this is what I've learned about it. The only reason I ever wanted other people to believe in me was so that it would be easier for me to believe in myself. And that seems like quite an obvious thing, but I didn't realize that at the time. I thought I needed other people's belief in me. I didn't realize that it was about me needing to believe in myself. But I'm encouraging you today to look at whether really it's about you believing in you, and whether if these other people that you want to believe in you, if they just believed in you right now, like what impact would that have on you? Like, would you instantaneously then believe in yourself? Because if that's the case, then I want you to try to understand that you could just start believing in yourself today. Like, you could choose to do that. And that doesn't make you like vain or anything else. Like, sometimes we have this thing where we think that if we have massive self-belief and we think that we're good enough, then we're somehow going to become these like narcissistic, horrible people. It's not true, but that can come from many places. And I know personally, I was a very confident child, and I was very like able to like speak up and put on little shows and do all kinds of things. And I remember there reached a point, probably when I got a little bit older, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12, where I started to become more aware of how other people might think of me. And that's normally the age that we get that. So I want you to just take yourself back to being like 7 years old, or perhaps even younger, 5 years old. Like, you just did things and you believed that you could do them. So I want you to try and cultivate that energy again of just believing in yourself and that you can do it. So one of the first steps to that is knowing that you will fully accept yourself no matter what. And this is all part of this idea of like, you get to choose. But the biggest thing here is learning how to accept yourself, whether you have reached the place you want to reach or not yet. Like, if you can learn to love and accept yourself where you are, then that will catapult you towards your dreams. And when you believe in yourself in that way, you can actually make so much more progress. So if you're wondering how to do this, then it's a long process, but you could start by looking at all of the people in your life whose approval you want, and making a list of them and getting super clear on like what it is you want them to say to you, what it is you think they think about you now, what it is you wish that they thought about you. Like, just get clear on like what it is and who these people are. At that point, you've then given yourself the awareness of who you're giving away your power to and what power you're giving them. And that's when you can actually bring that power back into yourself. So you can start saying to yourself the opposite. So for example, if it's a parent, like it might be, it normally is a parent, they come up quite a lot in this, but if you think, oh, I wish that my mother saw me as smart enough to get a degree. Let's just use that as an example. And you can shift that by starting to repeat to yourself an affirmation of, I believe I'm smart enough to get a degree, and my opinion is the most important one. And you can start to repeat that to yourself. And as you do that, you replace the old belief with a new belief, which is one where you get to choose and you get to have the freedom of deciding what's true for you. Ultimately, that is the most freeing thing you could ever experience, and it feels so good. So you can do this belief work, make a list of the people, replace it with new beliefs. I highly encourage that you repeat those new beliefs to yourself over a period of time. There is a study that says it takes 28 days for new habits to be formed. So my advice to you would be to wake up every morning and read your list of your new beliefs. You could also do it last thing at night. And you could also put reminders on your phone to pop up at like random points of the day for you to read those new beliefs. And you might not feel like anything is really happening at the beginning, but slowly you'll start to realize that you're thinking differently or you're acting differently, and it will change. The other thing you can do is mirror work around this. So it involves looking at yourself in the mirror and fully accepting yourself for who you are. So one practice that I have used in the past, and this is so scary, like I get that this is super scary, but it does work because it takes you out of your comfort zone, is to stand completely naked, no clothes, nothing, in front of a mirror, a full-length mirror, and set your timer for 3 minutes and just look at your body and at your face and at yourself. And you might like initially get all of these thoughts and feelings about the parts of you which aren't good enough and the parts of you which you don't like, but because you give yourself 3 minutes, over time, like over those minutes, those thoughts start to disintegrate, and you might find yourself having a kinder thought or a more loving or compassionate thought about yourself. And the more you do this, the more you get comfortable accepting who you really are and what you look like. Because for some reason, I think it's because of the society we live in and the constant bombardment of advertising and imagery that's been airbrushed. But women often don't believe in themselves and they have confidence issues, and it manifests as a belief about their physical appearance as well as their inner capability. So this is about kind of culling both of them. Like, you want to believe in yourself internally in terms of being like capable enough, strong enough, good enough, smart enough, like whatever it is. And then you also want to believe that your body and yourself is acceptable and lovable exactly as it is. Like, not when you lose 3 stone, not when you do yoga every day, not when you can lift a certain weight, not when you can run a certain distance, but today. Because the more that you love yourself today, the more that you're likely to do things that make you happier in the future, because you're going to believe that you deserve it. So that's some tips for getting more self-confident and, you know, self-acceptance. And the other thing that I want to address is the fact that you could do all this work and then at some point someone's going to trigger you. It's going to be someone that you're seeking approval from, you're looking for validation from, and they're going to do something or say something that they don't even realize is going to have an impact. And on you, it's going to feel huge. And this happened to me recently. I'll tell you the story. So I had pitched myself to do a online interview with somebody, and they'd said yes. And then we'd penciled in a date, and then I chased them up when we got closer to the date and said, do we have a date in mind for this yet? I'm trying to organize my calendar. And the person came back and they said to me, oh, actually, there's been some changes. We're not going to be able to do this until next year now. And they also said, we have some other people that we're going to interview ahead of you. So don't call us, we'll call you, essentially. And I gotta be honest with you, I was crushed. Like, I wanted to cry, I was angry, I was sad, and I had all of these beliefs come up of like, this person doesn't think I'm good enough. Like, this person would rather speak with these other people that are somehow better than me, and it must be true. Like, now that I'm looking back on it and like saying it out loud, I can see that that's like not true at all. But the problem is that I had given this person my power. I had decided that their opinion of me meant more than mine did. And it was only when I realized that I realized how utterly ridiculous it was to give this random person who I actually barely know more say over my worth than I do. Like, I've known me my entire life. Like, I'm choosing to give it to someone who, has known me for 6 months over the internet. It's madness. But we all do it. And what I had to realize with that is I had to get myself into a place where I felt super strong with it. So I thought about the situation and I decided that I would speak out loud, just on my own, by the way. I would speak out loud to that person and I would tell them everything that I wanted to tell them. So I would tell them that they don't get to decide how worthy I am, and that they don't get to let me feel like I'm not a good coach or I'm whatever. And I spoke it out loud, and then I replaced the beliefs, like I told you to do earlier, replaced the beliefs, and I said, I get to choose. I get to decide that I'm good enough. I get to decide that I'm worthy. I get to decide that my life is going to be the way I want it to be, and that everything happens for a reason. And actually, when people say everything happens for a reason, like, the reason that happened to me, I believe, is to highlight to me that I was still giving away my power for other people's acceptance. And this happened to be, this person worked for an organization that I really respect and have a lot of love for. And so I wanted their approval. Like, in the same way that I mentioned parents come up a lot, is people where we respect them, we love them, we want them to respect and love us back. So any time that you're putting somebody else on a pedestal like that, I want you to realize what a pedestal actually does. Like, if you think like you're here and this other person or business or whoever it is here as well, if you put them on a pedestal, you actually push them further away from you. So if you don't put them on a pedestal, then you bring them back down to your own level, and you actually feel so much more confident in your interaction with them, because you're not hailing them as some kind of all-powerful God who gets to tell you how good you are. So you get to choose, you get to decide, you get to rewrite these old belief systems. And one of the tools that I use a lot for rewriting old beliefs is EFT. It's also called tapping, and you tap on different points of your body while repeating affirmations. It works in a really cool way, and a great example to follow along if you've never heard of it before is by searching Brad Yates and looking up EFT with him, because it's super helpful. So you can have a look at that as well, and that would be great. But I would love to know in the comments whether you struggle with self-confidence, and I would also love to know what you're doing about it, because one of the biggest things that help us with becoming more confident is us taking action, is us deciding that we are going to change something and that we're capable and able of changing something that we want to change. So tell me how you're doing that, or if you're not doing it right now, try and tell me why, if you know why, or just write in the comments and I'll try and help you with that as much as I can. The other thing I would love for you to do is pop over to my website and join my mailing list, because I'll be sending some resources out and some free workshops very shortly about confidence, feeling enough, and taking control over your own destiny. So head over to my website, sign up. I would love to have you, love to send you free resources that will help you with this. And you can also find me on Instagram. But the main thing today that I would love for you to do is subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future episodes. I'm going to be covering all sorts of topics, and I'm going to be doing an episode a week for the foreseeable future. But for now, I would love for you to like this video, comment if you have a comment, give me a heart, give me some love so I know that you watched it and enjoyed it, and subscribe. But until next time, have a beautiful week.